Simplicity is the glory of expression, Walt Whitman. Let's jump into these charts. We see stocks are mixed for the day. Bonds are up. Gold and Bitcoin are down. Now, as we look at the S&P 500 on our standard STC chart, starting with the 195-minute chart, you can see that, of course, we've broken our prior trend line on the weekly chart. And we can see 1, 2, 3 days of strong down movement. Look at the volume spiking at the end of the day as we approach the 200 EMA. Interested to know what that is actually signaling. We'll be able to tell more tomorrow. We can see where we had gotten much lower during the day. And again, we closed down only 0.14%. Now, as we look at the 2-day chart, this is the first day of this latest 2-day candle. Again, you can see where things really spiked on that Thursday-Friday chart. Market, of course, closed on, that would have been the Friday-Tuesday because the market was closed on Monday. This first day of the latest 2-day candle, the Wednesday, it'll close on Thursday. Look at it pushing through the 200 EMA there. And the volume has decreased significantly. Now, it's only half of the time period, but again, it's nowhere near half that that prior volume movement on the prior 2-day candle. We look at the weekly, and again, we see lots of volume as the market was selling to the buyers that thought things were going to go up, and then, of course, rotated over going down. Again, we're just halfway into this shortened week. But again, we do see red down candle, wick on top. That was false. When I had the line over there, it made it look like that. No wick on top, just a wick on the bottom. That's important because we don't want any movement like that if we're going to have continued strong down movement. So we'll keep an eye on things and see how this week continues to move along. Of course, on the STC, the STC on the SPY and on the QQQ. So our indicator has reset. That's what I'm simply trying to say on both these charts, NASDAQ and the S&P 500. So if we do have a bounce off this 200 EMA, then of course we'll be ready to pull the trigger on an up move, possibly. Again, we have that 2-day going against us now on the S&P 500. On the NASDAQ 100, we can see, again, we do have at the end of the day in the afternoon session, you can see there is an upwick on this red candle. And of course, the way I have my volume set is it bases the color on the movement after, based upon the prior close. So that's interesting to see. We look at the 2-day. You can see where it broke the weekly trend line heading down, hasn't switched over yet from green to red on the STC and on the weekly. Again, you can see where we had that red candle last week as things just sort of ticked down. Lower highs, smaller candles, not a surprise. Things rolled over, particularly with that that average volume in the red last week. So we'll continue to watch, wait and see which way the markets go for us there. Look at what's happening on 20-year bonds. They track down, 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 down. And then over the course of the day, up 0.92%. Had some down movement in the morning as far as the wick goes, but then popped back up in the afternoon. Volume, not super great. Again, people aren't just chomping at the bit to buy 20-year bonds to go up. So we'll keep an eye on things. Still in the red and, of course, below the 200 EMA. On the half-day chart, we look at the 2-day, of course, below the 200 EMA, red on the STC there. And the weekly, it is green below the 200 EMA, again, going into the third week of accelerating down movement. You can see the candle getting bigger, the lower lows cashing in there. Volume not super high yet, and of course this is a shortened week, so maybe it's about average as to what it was over these last 2 weeks. But again, no huge volume upgrades here, nothing like we saw as volumes were increasing, as things were slamming down till they hit that bottom. So we'll keep an eye on things and see which way bonds end up going. What about gold? Well, gold down for the day 0.56%. And of course, once gold reached its most recent high back there in the 1st of February, we can see where it has, at least on this short time frame chart, the most recent high. We can see where things dropped, slid sideways, dropped again, and just sort of keep on moving down. We see where volume up some at the end of the day, and again down 0.56%. Will it bounce off the 200 EMA? That's possible. We look at the 2-day chart, and again, you can see where we're, well, for the last 3 days, we've been hitting about the same kind of low, so keep an eye on that. Red on the STC, green on the STC on this weekly chart. It's not reverted over yet, though, even after 3 weeks. Well, not 3 weeks, going into the 3rd week of down movement. Again, another little telltale sign for you. You see a red spinning top after all this up movement and volume jacking up higher than all of these green up candles. That tells you the insiders are selling to the suckers who think things are just going to keep going up. And of course, they then roll it over going down. Watch for those signs. Those spinning tops many times tell you a lot of things, particularly when you see volume spiking up as to what it's been before. It tells you a whole lot of things. And again, at least gives you some warnings, makes you think about things and analyze things further when you see them. Dojis, spinning tops are very important. Now, that's where we are on gold. Lastly, we will go to Bitcoin. Down for the day, our biggest downer, 3.09%. We can see where Bitcoin sort of hit this top right around that $25 mark or so, and of course is now sitting right there on that weekly trend line. We see where we are on the STC. We see some volume moving up there at the end of the day. We look at the 2-day. And again, you can see where it peaked. And of course, we've got this little warning sign here telling us, look at all the change in upward movement. Still green on the STC. We look at where we are on the weekly. And again, I have a green up candle there for the week. The most recent high was hit last week with that spinning top. Volume's not doing anything particularly exciting. So we will just keep an eye on Bitcoin. Hope to see some of particularly the STC indicator sort of reset itself and get back to working again. Hopefully all of this hard bleeding is over and we'll start seeing some good steady price movements up and down that'll help us determine a little better as to when Bitcoin is going to be practice tradable. That's where we are, folks, so appreciate you being with us. Feel free always to reach out to us, cw@chartingwealth.com. God bless. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth, World Headquarters.